Everybody, Munch Adventure here, and like I said, we have some news about the Orion spacecraft and the Artemis 2 mission. So, the NASA Inspector General has found that the Orion heat shield issues pose significant risks for the Artemis 2's crew safety. Let's talk about this. There's actually a couple other things in this article and in this report that the Inspector General found. And then there's actually some drama here too, because then NASA's employees are saying like this was unnecessary, whatever. So let's talk about all that. And then, you guys tell me what you're thinking. So this is Artemis 1 after it splashed down in the Pacific Ocean, December 11th. Right. And so what the main issue is that the ablator, which is what the heat shield is made out of, I guess, or a type of material. And the whole point of a heat shield, to my understanding, I mean, there's a lot of you out there smarter than me, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole understanding is that it is supposed to get really hot and char and basically, fall off or whatever it does to dissipate the heat. So it is supposed to look like tarnished and black and charred or whatever, but I guess it's doing it in a way that is unsafe and not expected. So let's talk about that. It's honestly looking like, so Artemis was actually already pushed back until late 2025. So they were thinking September. It might even be pushed back even more now. But this was just released Wednesday, May 1st. From the Office of the Inspector General, and it was titled NASA's Readiness for the Artemis 2 crewed mission to lunar orbit. So the Inspector General said Artemis test flight of the Orion spacecraft revealed anomalies with the Orion heat shield, separation bolts, and power distribution that pose significant risks to the safety of the crew. So it's not just the heat shield, it's also the separation bolts and the power distribution. So let me tell you about those. So NASA found over 100 areas on Orion's heat shield where thermal material protects the spacecraft from the heat of reentry had worn away differently than expected during NASA's reentry. So some of the material is seen flying off. A video released by the agency in December 2023 shows the charred heat shield material flying off. Let's take a look at that. So I believe that's it right there, that little chunk. It's part of the heat shield that's flying off. That was part of the video. So not ideal, obviously, to have, flying chunks of things flying in space with you, not ideal. Let's check this out. So these are like the pits and the craters, and it's kind of a low res image, but the Orion heat shield char loss after Artemis 1 mission. You can see there is what they call cavities resulting from the loss of large chunks of the heat shield char during reentry. So I don't think it's supposed to lose giant chunks like that. I think that's not ideal for them. So let's see down here. We did see the off-nominal recession of some char that came off the heat shield, which we were not expecting. Now, this heat shield is an ablative material. It's supposed to char, right? But it's not what we were expecting, with some pieces of that char to be liberated from the vehicle. Like how they talk like that, liberated, as if it's being captured by its own. Not under its free will. So NASA's making modifications to the heat shield. But the testing, I think what they're concerned about is the amount of testing that they're going to have to do now. And that is going to end up pushing the timeline of the mission back, which they do not want. Because then that is going to push back the mission of Artemis 3, which is supposed to be now, I think, late 2026. That gets pushed back again. Yeah, it's just... It's not ideal for budget cut reasons with NASA. So here is the Orion heat shield prior to the Artemis 1 mission. It's kind of crazy, the look of it, and then how it ends up being all destroyed. But another one of the issues that they had was these separation bolts, as you see here. They were like melting. Like, look at that right here. Separation bolt melting and erosion post Artemis 1 reentry. Look at that. Crazy the amount of rust and stuff, and it's all melted. It's just space does some crazy things. And then there was one other issue, which was the electrical. There was anomalies in the electrical system that affected how power is distributed through the spacecraft. This is a picture of it in it's heading into a vacuum chamber. to do some tests. But NASA believes that radiation was the cause of the power anomalies. So they are developing operational workarounds that they. The OIG report adds, without a permanent change in the spacecraft's electrical hardware, there's an increased risk that further power distribution anomalies could lead to a loss of redundancy, inadequate power, and potential loss of vehicle propulsion and pressurization. That is not good. Especially with the loss of they think that it's radiation, and then they're design the entire permanent change in the spacecraft's electrical hardware. To me, that is a crazy amount of testing and changes. So it's got to be pushed back to me. Additional issues cited in the report: a 4.5-hour communication loss that occurred during an outage of one of NASA's deep space network facilities, as well as an unexpected damage to the Artemis 1 mobile launcher. Yeah, so check this out. So when they launched the craft, there was all this damage here. The elevator doors kind of like, it looks like they blew out or something. And then the image on the right shows the bent elevator car tracks in red. So this the elevator going up and down. That's not good. So NASA has well over a year to determine how to address the issues cited in the OIG's report. It's true, verification and validation for testing some of these upgrades and modifications taking longer than expected. See, there's your red flag right there. Taking longer than expected. Artemis, and then here it just goes on to talk about, it was scheduled for 2025, having been delayed from its original launch date of November 2024. The delay was made to provide more time, more hardware, safe for the crew. And then they obviously found out that it's not safe. So they have time. It is a year away, but these things, testing takes time. And like they've mentioned, they don't have a lot of time. And it's taking more time than they expected. So I'm still really excited about the Artemis 2 mission, and I'm really excited about the Artemis 3 missions. And I think it's probably not a good thing for NASA to have this happen. Just politically wise, Just thinking politically wise, right? NASA's already getting budget cuts. There's already pressure. There's other missions happening, right? Boeing Starliner mission is happening. So at least that one's heading forward. But Artemis 2 is really the quintessential mission of the last, decade or two even. I'd even, well, yeah, honestly, for just how big of an undertaking it is and what it's setting up for the future. So okay, now I wanted to go to this article that was the drama. Speaking of politics, this is the drama, the politics of this. NASA says Artemis 2 report by its inspector general is unhelpful and redundant. So basically everything that I just read to you, NASA's team is saying, guys, this is unhelpful and redundant. So the inspector general said all these things. NASA downplayed the heat shield in the immediate aftermath of Artemis 1. The unexpected damage and charring is a significant concern. So buried at the end of this page, on page 36, there's a distinct tone of petulance in the remarks from Katherine Corner, the Associate Admin for Exploration System Development Mission Directorate. Okay, so her role is to oversee Orion, and she's obviously upset. So what does she say? She says, NASA is dedicated to continuous enhancement of our processes and procedures to ensure safety and address potential risks and deficiencies. However, the redundancy in the above recommendations does not help to ensure whether NASA's programs are organized, managed, and implemented economically, effectively, and efficiently. So she feels the Inspector General's efforts are redundant and unhelpful. This is not accidental language. I love when these, upper corporate, whatever people, bureaucrats, start battling each other through press releases. It's hilarious in the language that they use. But, like they say, there's the peevishness with the continual oversight of these bodies is the remark about redundancy. Right? She's in effect, she's saying we're already aware of all these issues raised by the Inspector General's report. Let us do the work and fix them. Wow. I know that it's over budget, but I think we got to do it. I mean, what an amazing photo this is, right? Incredible. Anyways, guys, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? The drama, the internal drama, is this mission going to get, is it going to launch in time? And anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. See you later.